Follow your opportunity and bring your passion with you is something that I constantly remind myself because everyone is saying, especially as you're graduating, follow your passion. What the heck is your passion? We have no idea. Just right now, like as a young adult fresh out of high school, this is work mode. And because I decided not to go to college, like this is when I have to work and almost get that 4 years ahead. And I want to make a resource for high schoolers who also feel undecided or unsure about life after high school. Like as a podcaster, you don't know who's listening or on the other side. You never can really tell if you're actually talking to anyone until they do reach out. So I might as well document the journey of making this decision to not go the traditional path. College was never really something I was looking forward to, and I was just very interested in entering the workforce and making money. So the decision to start the podcast was, I can't be the only one feeling like this.
You're listening to the Real Business Connections Network. Real Business Connections Network. Powered by Balbert Marketing, LLC. Subscribe now and check us out at realbusinessconnections.com. Enjoy the show.
At Decision Day podcast, you end with a question where you ask all your guests, like, what mistakes young people are making. You're a relatively young person. You're a young adult. What do you see? What are some of the biggest mistakes you see young people making?
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm a class of 2022 high school graduate. I'm turning 20 in August, Gen Z. So I feel like as a generation, we need to be more curious now that we have the internet at our fingertips. I think that's why I came up with that question, what mistakes do you see young people making? Because we're probably making a lot of mistakes. And the best way to learn is from people that have already done it. So personally, I think the biggest thing is their use of social media, just to start right off there. I was always obsessed with YouTube when I was younger, and I always was like trying. My sister and I would do the yoga challenge or the eat it or wear it for anyone that was on YouTube like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And it was like nothing. I would get kind of made fun of in school of people being like, what are you doing on your YouTube? But I just really wanted that social media presence. I didn't have a purpose for it. So I think a lot of young people right now are just kind of posting whatever, especially on TikTok. But if you can narrow down what your purpose for your social media is, if it's to build up your own brand or if it's to elevate yourself to a future career that you think you're interested in, I think that's a great place to start. Because once I came up with the concept for Decision Day, the Decision Day podcast, that's when I've finally been able to be like, okay, I'm so happy with what I'm posting. It represents myself, what the messages that I want to get out to people. And it just feels a lot better. Like if I were to post a get ready with me or like a day in my life, it just wouldn't feel natural to me because there's no purpose for me behind it. So I think that might be the biggest mistake that I'm seeing right now is what young adults are posting because you never know who's looking at it.
Can I just let's say I'm a young adult and I post a bunch of stuff. Can I just delete it or is the world going to remember?
That's the scary thing is the digital footprint. Like we have no idea, but I think if it's not controversial or anything, you could always delete or archive. But there's also that aspect of if you do want to post yourself partying, having a good time, like good for you. That's totally okay. Just maybe make yourself private or don't put it on more of a professional setting, especially if you have a LinkedIn, which I think every young adult should have a LinkedIn. But I think that's the way to go about it is like every time I post, I think, what would my grandpa say to this? What would my boss say to this? Like, I think of those people before I post something. What would Ben say if he saw me posting in a bikini? Like, it wouldn't make sense. So stuff like that.
When anyone watching the video, like you're dressed nice for this podcast. I saw you we're both from Rochester, New York. I saw you on the local news. You're dressed to the nines.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And you're a young adult. You know, you touched on it, Decision Day podcast. This is Leah Leverich, my guest, by the way, if anyone doesn't know. And Leah's the host of Decision Day podcast. You're an entrepreneur. You're a content creator. A lot of people your age aren't doing all these things yet. This is an interesting question that just came to me.
Yeah.
Talk about the decision to launch Decision Day. Was there a decision behind Decision Day?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I graduated in 2022, and that whole summer after I graduated, I was still undecided. And it wasn't the type of undecided of like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I'm just going to figure it out. It was like, no, throughout my entire high school education, I was trying to figure it out and nothing was clicking. So I decided on interior design. I was taking that summer to make my portfolio, which I didn't even know I needed. I'm not an art student. I just wanted an answer. So I spent the whole summer doing that. I actually got into the college that I wanted to go to for the next semester. So I would have just been one semester behind. And the acceptance email, it wasn't even an acceptance letter. The email said, "Congratulations, first name." It didn't even put my name on it. So I was just kind of like, oh, is this somewhere that I want to spend the next 4 years, a lot of money, a lot of time? It would be moving to New York City. That was my goal at that time. And I was just like, I don't think that this feels right. I wasn't as excited as everyone seems to be online. So that decision to start the podcast was really me having a bit of a crisis of like, okay, this is where I thought I was going and now I'm not. So I might as well document the journey of making this decision to not go the traditional path. College was never really something I was looking forward to. And I was just very interested in entering the workforce and making money. So the decision to start the podcast was I can't be the only one feeling like this. And I want to make a resource for high schoolers who also feel undecided or unsure about life after high school.
So I graduated in 2009, so I'm a little bit removed. Do people know what they want to do? I had no clue what I wanted to do. It's
Yeah, that's
normal
reassuring.
it's normal not to know what your next move is, right?
I like to think so because it's crazy at 17, like, or 16, like we have no idea. We're still, even just now looking back, like I see myself as so much of a child, even though I didn't feel like it in the moment. But I think that a lot of people now with social media, especially after the pandemic, where there's those decision day accounts, everyone's comparing themselves and their decision to everyone else's. Like, where's everyone else going to school or what are they pursuing? And I think that's where it almost feels competitive of like, okay, they're going to this school. I want to also do great things like that. Or why am I not pursuing that path? So I think the figuring it out is rushed even more because we are so aware of what everyone else is doing. But I was just trying to, with Decision Day, I'm still trying to normalize not having it figured out and just taking the next path in front of you and going from there. Because how are you going to make that life-changing decision at 17? And how do you know if it's going to be the right decision?
Let's normalize figuring it out. I love that because I know personally I'm figuring things out as we go every single day. And yes, we have to make big decisions. Yes, we need to be able to make big decisions, but aren't we all kind of just figuring it out as we go? Like that is a very big decision to make. And I don't know if you went into this, and I'm not an expert on this, but it's a massively large financial decision as well that I'm going to allocate, tens of thousands of dollars and 4 years or more of my life to this decision when I just started learning how to drive a couple months ago. Like,
Just
I don't
bought a
really
car,
know.
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's only getting more expensive. And I think a lot of it that young adults don't even think about is the fact that maybe their perfect career for them or the perfect path, they don't even know it exists yet. Or maybe it's like something in 10 years that we haven't experienced yet. So how are you supposed to know what's going to be great for you if you don't just start figuring it out and learning from your mistakes? Like I'm still figuring it out as well.
Are you anti-college?
I wouldn't say that I'm anti-college. I think personally, it didn't make sense for me and what I wanted to pursue. But I mean, college, you need to get a degree to become a lawyer, an engineer, a doctor. So there's so many majors that it makes sense. Like find the college that'll best prepare you for the career that you want to enter. I just think we should shift it to the focus of figure out what career you want to enter versus what college you want to go to, because it's such a big investment.
Career, industry, interests, and then go down that path. And that could be with college. It's going to be required if you want to be a surgeon, but possibly not if you want to be a marketer, as an example.
Yeah. Especially since as you see with Belbert, like it's constantly changing, and the content that they're teaching marketing students or students that are pursuing marketing, it's like, is that going to be relevant in even 2 months because of how quickly the algorithms change?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing half the time. The one thing that doesn't change, though, is the value of conversations like this, figuring it out, and the value of building relationships. So, like, a lot of what I do in marketing is just staying as close to the times as possible, but then connecting myself with the right kind of people to get the information, to build the relationships, because there's always going to be a new best thing that feels unattainable. And if we're always trying to grab at it, we're never going to catch it. Like it's always flying in the
Exactly.
distance somewhere else.
The relationship thing is huge, especially for any young adult graduating high school. Like I wouldn't have met Ben here. We wouldn't have been doing this if I didn't reach out to someone who introduced me to Ben. So it's the whole relationship thing is such a big part of it. And I know a lot of people go to college and join sororities and fraternities for the connections that you make in the network. But just know that that's not the only way to meet people. I mean, starting a LinkedIn is so easy and so essential. So you could start meeting people local to you or in the industry you want to enter and build up your network that way as well.
Let's dive into that, because whether you're going to college or not, no matter where you are in your career, I feel like learning this is so essential, and you're doing it for the first time. So it's fresh to you and you're doing it right now. Like, what does your networking strategy look like? You're messaging people on LinkedIn, you're giving them phone calls, Facebook group. Like, you tell me, how do you network?
I've gotten so much better with practice because the minute that I graduated, I just wanted to be isolated. Like, I didn't want to do all this. Talking to adults, it's so scary when you're just entering the real world, adult life.
You're an adult now, though, Leah.
I know. It's crazy to even think that, because when you're in high school, you're just in your little bubble. And then when you graduate, it's like, oh, shoot, like I'm done. I have nowhere to report back to unless you continue to go to another school. So right now, the focus is a lot of coffee dates, a lot of coffee meetings, meeting over Zoom like this. That's how we first had our conversation. It's really expanded from one connection to the next person. LinkedIn has been a huge help, just really being active on there and sharing more than just like, I got a promotion, but like things that I would also put on Instagram or share about my life and successes and career related things. That helps people kind of get to know me more, and then I can get to know them more. And it branches off from there. So a lot of it, I mean, the podcast helps because I interview people and then I get to know them and who they know. But the biggest thing is like the presence online of keeping all your connections in one place, but also the in-person coffee meetings or the Zoom meetings are crazy, life-changing. Like I've gotten so many answers and insight, and it's led me to other things.
So coffee one-on-ones, virtual one-on-ones,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, creating unique content, podcast. You're like 12 years ahead of me. Chops to you, props to you. But
I am?
Well, yeah, this is literally all I do, but I started in 2020 is when I started kind of doing this kind of stuff. I had no
That's a
presence
compliment.
online. Yeah, so anything else we missed from that list that's working for you?
I think just following up a lot of it's intimidating as a young adult to approach an adult and an actual like grown adult. Ooh, sorry. And be like, hey, can I ask you some questions? Like the phrase pick your brain. It's like, no, we don't want to do that. So I think a lot of it is being curious, and young adults, like no one is going to genuinely say, no, I don't want to help you. If you're young, you're fresh, you're starting out in an industry, or if you're curious. So a lot of it is asking the right questions, asking good questions. Like I rarely talk about myself during a coffee meeting because I'm the one in the learning position, and then following up with them, staying in contact. I'm always following immediately any sort of networking event or anything that I attend. I'm getting everyone's name because you never know who could help you or what that could lead to.
Yeah, you never know what could come next.
Yeah.
Have you heard me rant about pick your brain?
No, but I've heard a lot of people say that is an annoying. What, do you like it? Because it's annoying.
And this is going to ruin the term for everyone forever if they haven't heard me talk about this, but imagine like imagine having your brain picked. Seems seems disturbing. Like my time, I love spending time with people, but my time is more valuable than like a $3 coffee. So it's like, pick brain. Like, do I get the brain cells back? Like, I don't like the feeling of that term.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it just seems so take. Like taking pieces of my brain. Well, I want my brain cells. But how do you present it? Like, let's say you're reaching out to someone and they're older and they're a CEO or they're successful. It's like, what do you say to them to get their attention?
I think it starts with, again, like not talking about too much about yourself because you want to know more about them. If you do your research ahead of time, like if I wanted to reach out to Ben, I would say, hey, you have Bellbert marketing. I'm so interested in that. I want to learn more about marketing. Would you be willing to grab coffee? And I would love to just learn more about what you're doing, like that type of thing. And then also seeing ways that I could help you. I always end a lot of my emails which it's crazy that I'm saying I sent emails as a 20-year-old. Like, oh, it's just a whole new world that we're entering here. But at the end of a lot of the emails and messages, it's like, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you, because everyone wants to be helped. Like again, with the pick your brain, it sounds so selfish to be like, let me take all your knowledge. It's like, no, how can I help you? And then you just start a mutual, like, you want to help each other in that sense.
Yeah, it's mutual benefit. You're interested in what they do. Everybody's favorite topic is what they do. So it's
Yep.
easy if you're a good listener. Where did you learn this stuff? Did you have a mentor or a friend? Did you watch a YouTube video? Because like tactically, like if someone were, you could do a training on this because what you're doing is the
Oh.
correct way to make a outreach. Did someone teach you that, or did it just happen kind of on its own?
Interesting question. So, in my junior year of high school, my parents, if we're talking Rochester, my parents are on the radio, 98.9 The Buzz and 95.7 The Fan. So, they had someone named Brandon T. Adams on. My mom had him on her radio show. And at the time, junior year of high school, I had a homemade bath bomb business that gave money to charity for National Honor Society. So, I was just kind of making money that way. That was like my entrepreneurial spark. And Brandon offered on the radio show to give me advice on my bath bomb business. And I was just like, what do you mean this random man is going to get on Zoom with me? Which this is before Zoom kind of became as normal as it is. And I was like, I don't want this creepy man to talk to me about this business that I'm not even sure if this is what I want to do.
Sure.
And so on that call, he offered me a paid internship to do his social media. And I was just like, okay, I don't know what that means. I just started scheduling his social media and it's grown from there. So now I'm the multimedia and video production manager. And through that job, Brandon is an investor, advisor to large companies, video marketing expert. So he has events, and I've been grateful to attend those events. And that's what's really taught me is the in-person events and being in the room with these successful individuals like Kevin Harrington, original shark on Shark Tank. These just crazy, like I can't even fathom it. So as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, I was just like, whoa, what is this? I just kind of sat back, observed, took everything in, and that's where I've been learning and then applying it to myself.
Wow. So you're a social media manager, you're a podcaster, and you're an entrepreneur with your own business.
Yeah, it's a lot right now. I mean, that's the full-time job is the social media stuff. And then I was like, I need to apply this to myself because I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 to 10 years. Like, I want to take this, and the entrepreneurial side of me is like, I want to be my own boss. So that's where I'm at right now, as you probably understand.
Yeah, you're working with brilliant people. You're like, let's take this information, start applying it. How do you manage all the stuff? Like you're young, you're hungry, so it probably just comes second nature to you. But like, do you have to use a bunch of bath bombs and like go meditate and chill? Like, how do you manage all that stress or all that work?
Well, first of all, the bath bomb business, rest in peace to that. I mean, if you are in Rochester, you may have seen it in some local boutiques. So that's kind of crazy to even think about. But a lot of it is the Google Calendar. Like that's where I keep everything organized. But just right now, like as a young adult fresh out of high school, this is work mode. And because I decided not to go to college, like this is when I have to work and almost get that 4 years ahead is kind of the analogy that I play in my mind of like, if I'm not going to go and get that degree, that piece of paper that's going to help me, I need to be ready for when everyone else graduates in my class and they all enter the workforce as well. So I'm not behind in any way. So I think that's the motivator. And also like, I want to make money. I want to start saving, investing, all of that. So organization is like, I just got to get the stuff done that I need to get done, really.
You're in work mode, and I don't know how these numbers are going to play out. Let's do this together. So, do you know, like, on average, how much you work a week? And I know it probably doesn't feel like Decision Day is such a great example. It probably doesn't feel like a ton of work, but like, how much time do you invest into this kind of stuff in any given week?
Ooh, I really don't know. I'd love to dedicate more time to Decision Day because I have so many ideas. I just have to start making it profitable before I can make it my thing.
Mm.
But I think like the full-time job has to be around 40 hours a week, maybe more because entrepreneurship, like you probably know, you can never just stop. Like you're always thinking about it. You're always doing some sort of research or something. Decision Day, it depends on the week, but it's a lot of video editing because I do it myself. and reaching out to people in the interviews. So it's kind of like its own part-time job as well, a traditional part-time job.
Yeah, I know I put you on the spot with that question. There's no perfect answer, but like one, I wanted to like commend your hard work and grit, and looking at the other end, and I'm not saying one way's better than the other, but like if you're a college student and let's say you're taking 15 to 18 credits, you're in class for, 15 to 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
You're maybe doing another 20 hours a week of homework and self-study. And then if you're working a full-time job, that's another 30 to 40 hours a week, maybe even more. In addition to that, then if you're someone like Ben, you're like partying on the weekends and you're like not super focused. It's like, it's not impossible that you're actually not working more than someone who's in college. You're just focused on something different than someone who was in college. You're probably allocating a similar amount of hours, but you're focusing less time on the school and more time on like the journey of making your own decision and finding your own path.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle too. I think when I was growing up and even in high school, I never envisioned myself, doing the traditional living in a dorm. I don't know, going to class and stuff like that. When I graduated high school, I was like, all right, I'm done. I just want to start working and learning and doing hands-on stuff and figuring out what I'm interested in. So I never say I'll never go back to college. Maybe I decide to be a lawyer in a few years. I'll go back and get that law degree. But yeah, it's very interesting, the different lifestyle. I think the young adult, the high schooler graduating just needs to think about what feels right for them. What path do they see themselves going down? Because I would have had to force myself to have that college lifestyle, even though it's not something that I saw for my future with, my long-term goals and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's, I'm starting to think, and tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think you're wired differently.
You think so? Okay.
You're very entrepreneurial as a young adult. Is that something you learned through your family, through like the radio show, like through, I know like you're interviewing your grandpa about finance right now. Like I'm putting myself on blast. Like when I was your age, I just cared about like music and girls and partying. And
That's fine.
I was just some average dude in that regard, but you're wired in a unique way. And I think that's a gift. It's not a problem. But have you ever
Thank
thought
you.
about that?
I definitely have wondered, like, where the heck did this come from? My Nonna and Grandpa, Nonna, because they're both from Italy, a small town in Italy, but they came here at different ages, so it's Nonna and Grandpa. But they are very traditional thinking in the way of like, you want to be an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. Like those were the options for me, and I was just like, I tried them. I job shadowed. I fainted. Job shadowing a dermatologist. Like it was humiliating. I was like, no. I tried it. I don't think this is for me. And then my parents are in the entertainment creative. So, I mean, the podcast is kind of like I had the resources with radio, so I might as well utilize that. And maybe some of it's genetic. But it was really a lot of understanding that the entrepreneurial spirit felt right. Like it was me asking myself in high school, do I feel like I belong in the room with these people? So when I would attend those in-person events, I did feel like it's more of a sense of belonging with the other entrepreneurs in the room. And then looking back to when I had the bath bomb business, I really liked a lot of aspects from that. But like when I was shadowing the dermatologist or even a physical therapist, I was like, I don't know if I could see myself with these people just because it didn't feel right. So I have no idea where it came from. I think the creativity like really got to me, and I'm just taking it as it comes. So being wired different, I think that's a compliment. I really don't know where it came from. I have great support and parents and grandparents around me, which really definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean, great people around you obviously helps. You're obviously very creative. You're very curious. And honestly, that's not like a different wiring. I think most human beings are very curious and creative. You just like found a way to tap into that.
Yeah. And hopefully I can inspire other people to tap into it as well if they want. Yeah.
How would you inspire people to tap into it? How has it helped you to like, again, you mentioned like you reach out to someone. It's not about you, it's about them. When you're doing a one-to-one, you ask a lot of questions, you listen more, like you're genuinely curious. How has that helped you in your life, in your career, and your decision-making process?
Well, it's helped me learn more, obviously, soak in all that knowledge. I think that's the biggest part of it. What was the first thing that you asked?
So you're so curious.
Yeah.
How's that help you in life?
It kind of also, as I'm still going along my path of entering the workforce, it's helping me narrow down what I want to do in the future and kind
Mm,
of see what I want my future to look like. So going on these coffee dates, it's like I don't think I could see myself living in Germany. I don't know if I talk to someone from Germany. It's just something like that. So it kind of narrows it down even further, but it gives me a better perspective to then share with the audience on decision day. I think that's a personal way that it
Yeah,
helps me, but
yeah, personal perspective. It sounds like you're getting like clarity on what you'd like to do, what you won't like to do. You learn some of that in the shadowing. And I know like offline, we talked a little bit about how like you've been solo traveling and doing that again falls into like loving adventure, being a curious person. Like, where do you want to start? So you've been solo traveling. How's that been?
so a lot of it was through work, which I'm so again so grateful for that opportunity to go to the events, and I'd get invited like, "Hey, do you want to get live video content and post to social media at this event that we're hosting?" So what are you going to say no to that as a young
Yeah.
adult? Like you have to take that opportunity. It was very intimidating, very nerve-wracking to get on a plane by myself, fly down, stay in a hotel by myself at 18, like, it definitely felt a little bit lonely, weird, especially since I'm a lot of the times the youngest person in the room, but I cannot recommend it highly enough for high schoolers, Gen Z, literally anyone actually, because especially in Rochester, it can feel kind of like you live here, you were born here, you live here, you grow up here, you might wanna stay here, but you have to really explore what's out there because again, with the perspective, it'll shift your mindset. Every single time I come back feeling motivated, creative, like all these different ideas, a sense of independence. Any opportunity that you have, even if it's a solo road trip just a few hours away and you just spend time alone, like I think that really will help you as you leave high school to understand who you are, what do you want, and kind of recenter yourself, understand yourself more. It feels really good and it definitely opens your mind and your eyes up to stuff that we don't think about when we're a lot of the time with the cloudy weather, especially. It's like, oh gosh, you just kind of get into a rhythm, but it helps you break out of that a little bit.
Yeah, we don't always think about that. There's like a whole wide world out there
Yeah.
outside of our little area, and you
Or
learn a lot of
beautiful
things.
Rochester.
What are some of your favorite places you've been thus far?
Ooh, so a lot of it's Nashville. So if anyone needs any Nashville recommendations, I got
Hmm.
them. I'm not even the biggest country music fan, but it's a fun place to go. I think the one that comes to mind the most is there was this event James Whitaker hosted. I had him on decision day. He has the philosophy of win the day. So he had a mastermind in Los Angeles, and I've never been. I haven't traveled over to the West Coast at all, but I had the opportunity to fly there alone, and it was so scary. Thinking about it now, I don't know how I did that. I think I just went into autopilot, but that was definitely my favorite. Even though I didn't even get to explore LA, it was just plane, event, and then another plane. It just felt so amazing to be so far away and like doing something and exploring a little bit there. I would love to go back, but I think that's like the one that really stands out to me because I felt
Hmm.
so independent and like grown up.
I'm super curious, and I'm asking for a friend. No, really myself, because it literally has been happening to me. I go to a conference. It's incredible. Like I'm on a high. I'm drinking from a fire hose, and then there's just so much that comes in. Like I come home and I get like I don't always implement. Have you
Yeah.
struggled with implementation? If not, like how you go to a mastermind, like what happened next? Did you put together a to-do list or like how did you ensure that and you could tell me you failed because I failed a million times, but like
Oh,
what
I
happens
definitely.
next?
There's definitely been so many things. I just went to a women in tech event in Rochester and I had a huge list. So I think revisiting that really helps, but I've definitely not accomplished all of the ideas that I had. The biggest part is that follow up of like getting everyone's Instagram, LinkedIn, email, anything so that when the event is over, I always send a message or just like, thank you so much for chatting with me about, and I'll say like a specific conversation that we had or an inside joke that we had throughout the conference or event. And then I'd love to talk further with you, or if you talked about collaborating in some way. And then again, how can I help you further? That has really helped me maintain the momentum afterwards because then you have these meetings with the people that you just talked to. And then you can go from there and follow up with them even farther down into the future. But I definitely am not the expert with it. I just take a lot of notes while I'm there and then have to make a point to revisit it and like put things on my to-do list from that.
I know you say you're not, no, none of us are experts, but I totally think you could teach a course on this.
Hey, you're actually giving me some great ideas. Look, this is the momentum. I'm going to write this down because I need to start monetizing stuff more. So thank you for that, actually.
Well, literally everything you're saying is like the stuff I learned, but the hard way. And honestly, you're doing things that 9 out of 10 people, if not like 95 out of 100, don't do. Like the follow up, the relationship building, like being the first one to follow up, like being ambitious. This isn't about me, it's about you, but I'll just give like a quick thing that I do.
Yeah.
Say I go to a conference, I damn sure everyone that I saw speak and everyone I met, I'm going to reach out to. But even like if there's like lots of rooms, I couldn't see everyone speak. I reach out to literally everybody involved with the conference. If
That's
I
why
saw
you're so
you,
massive on LinkedIn, huh?
if I see you speak, I'm going to be like, hey, Leah, I loved your presentation. You really like your insight on X, Y, and Z really like sparked a light bulb. Let's connect. And I'll do that individual approach for anyone that I took notes with. And then anyone I didn't connect with or I couldn't speak to them or, they're on the bill, but I couldn't see them speak. I'll be like, hey, I'm like super bummed I didn't get to see you speak at this conference, but it was amazing, right? And I say something like, it was amazing, right? Because I want like to elicit a conversation. But like, again, like let's say you're at a huge conference. So let's just use Inbound because it's on my mind. It's a big conference by HubSpot. It's in Boston. There's hundreds of speakers. It's impossible to meet everybody.
Yeah.
But you can go down that speaker list and just introduce yourself to all of them.
Yeah.
You start conversations with people that are willing to talk. But the best part is a lot of these people that are speaking at a conference will end up at another conference you're going to in the future as well. So let's say you are solo traveling, you're going alone, you're a little nervous. You can actually reach out to people that you met through the previous conference, or even if you didn't meet them, and it'll be easier to make that initial connection once you're there.
I'm taking that note. I will be doing that for the next one. Yeah.
Because you're already doing that. I'm just like doing it in all areas.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is also, I don't want to be forgettable. So like when I meet these people at these events, it's like, what can I say to them or how can I follow up so that they don't forget me, just to keep that connection, because maybe there'll be something down the road where I could help them or they could help me. But also like even thinking, because I bet this is how you're so massive on LinkedIn. Like I'm looking up to you in all areas over there as I'm trying to get more presence on there. But even how you put, I don't know if this is probably intentional. You put Ben Albert and then the little tree emoji, right?
Yeah.
Every time that I am on LinkedIn, I always see your name first because of that little tree. And it's so like, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah. So technically in LinkedIn's terms, you're supposed to use your legal name. You're not supposed to use emojis. But they've never told me I can't. Without going deep into it, like I have a mastermind called Grow Getters Only. Yeah. Everything I'm about is visibility and growth. It's amplifying people that like need seed watering, like helping them grow, helping them expand. So that tree is just to represent growth. So when people see me and hear me and read my posts and talk to me, there's that symbolism always in the back of their head. So then they can associate
in my mind,
me.
Yeah. The visual,
so they associate me with growth. Yeah.
Yep.
A friend of mine has a lemon. I don't even know what that means, but like as long as LinkedIn doesn't like stop you from doing it, and I wouldn't emoji like bomb with like 5 emojis. You want to be professional, but consider that. Like what emoji? We'll see. You don't have to do it. It really
works because when I've done it. I saw your tree and I went, oh, I'm doing that immediately because
what is yours now then?
Mine is now a little star because I use that emoji a lot for decision day, the graduation cap, the star, the headphones, So just the star representing like finding your career and then flourishing from there. But I made a point to add that to mine because I was like, he knows what's up. I'm really noticing your name so much more. So I was hoping to do the same with my LinkedIn. You've already inspired me.
And this is what impresses me about you. I was going to give you like homework that's not required to like go add an emoji. And you have already done it. Like you're doing the homework before it's even asked of you.
Research, you got to be prepared.
Wow. So preparation's important to you?
Definitely, especially with talking to like what we were saying with going to conferences and meeting people. You want to know who's in the room, more about them. But I do a lot of it through the podcast. Like I have to be prepared with who I'm interviewing. So it's the episode is the best quality it possibly can be.
What this is me just nerding about podcasts,
Yeah.
but my listeners love podcasts. So like what does that preparation process look like for you? Are you like watching a ton of videos, doing it like what? You tell me.
Yes, social media a lot, but also I'm not even at the point yet where I can just go off the cuff. Like with having my parents helping me from the radio aspect really does like impact the way that I go about it because I'll go to them for any advice again. But I really have to write out, like I'll do research, I'll ask for a bio, just learn more about them, how they talk. I've done it for you, even though I'm not interviewing you right now, but I still want to know like who you are, what you talk about. And then I have to write everything out. I know, especially for podcasters, like I cannot just get on the mic and just talk alone or lead it. I need that outline and written out. And then you build the conversation off of that. So that's where the preparation really comes into play. And I've found that really helps me to make an episode good and clear, concise for the listener.
When your episodes are short and they're clear, they're concise, they're straight to the point, they're value driven, and I do notice like you start with a introduction that, yeah, I presume that's one of the things you're writing out because it's like well written introduction. Like this
Like a
episode
hook,
today,
yeah.
I was literally just like, Leah, let's just start with a question because I feel like YouTube likes that, but like you actually have like a storyline hook and everything. So you're writing that out in advance.
It's more about the fact that my target audience is younger. I mean, teenagers, younger listeners. So I want to grab their attention as quickly as I can because it is a little bit harder. Everyone's all over the place. It's harder to stay focused. And the episodes are shorter because everyone has a shorter attention span. So it's like, I got to get this into their brain as quickly as I can before they click off.
Have listeners reached out much yet being like, dude, you helped me X, Y, and Z. Like, thank you so much.
So I started the podcast in January 2023, and it was like a full year of not a lot of engagement. Like I was trying to build that community and get responses. But I just kept being consistent, kept posting. And recently one of my videos did really well on Instagram. And I'm so thankful for that because it's put me in front of an audience farther than just Rochester, but like it's kind of expanded throughout the country and a little bit, global when you look at the statistics and all of that. But that has really gotten people who don't know who I am or who don't know about Rochester. So they're just like, oh, this girl is talking about life after high school. Let me check it out. And I've gotten some messages from them. Now people are telling me that they've listened to every single episode in order. I'm like, I can't even fathom that. I don't want to listen to my own episodes in order. But that, I think it's the consistency, and I'm finally getting those people to start reaching out. But I just had to not give up in that aspect because it did get lonely. Like as a podcaster, you don't know who's listening or on the other side. You never can really tell if you're actually talking to anyone until they do reach out afterwards. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. So it's been a great feeling now hearing that I actually can help people, sharing the knowledge like directly.
Yeah, let's go back. I said earlier, like 95% of people don't reach out. So if you're listening to this podcast or if you're listening to Decision Day podcast, I know when you subscribed, it's on the notes. Like reach out and let us know because it is super lonely. And I think it's important like to highlight, you said you did it for like a year, kind of like wondering what was like, is anything happening?
Yeah.
Like,
and it did feel like a lot of the people that were listening or were following were people that I already knew or already went to high school with, already graduated with. They already had their path kind of figured out. So it was getting even lonelier when I was trying to find that community of I can't be the only one feeling undecided. I was just like, am I seriously the only one feeling undecided? But now that it's pushed forward a little bit more, it's definitely a lot less lonely.
Is it for Rochester more exclusively, or is it for like anybody in the world?
No, it's for really anybody in the world. I did a worldwide series kind of recently where I interviewed someone from Colombia, Australia, Ireland, England, Italy, just trying to expand it even further and seeing like what is their decision day like over there? Because over here it's this whole lifestyle. Even they reassured it's like the movies and college and the parties and all of that, and they really see it like that. But for them, it's so much more normalized to take a gap year or to go right to school because it's cheaper, it's more accessible in some regard. So yeah, it's definitely broadened, which I'm happy about.
Interesting. I don't even know what to ask you. I want to go back and now I have to go like binge myself because yeah, so the way we do it in America is just not how everyone does it everywhere.
No, like I have a cousin in Italy. That's who I interviewed, Chiara, and she wanted to be a medical student, but it was like, no, you just go to college because med school is not the crazy price that it is over here, and it's much more normal, especially in Australia. I remember Lauren Karan, that episode, she was talking
Mm.
about how students will take time and it's totally fine because they can still go back. It's just like for us, I don't know why it's such a traditional thing of like, no, you go right away, otherwise you're done. You won't be as successful, which is not normally true anymore.
Yeah. So perhaps you can go on holiday before attending university.
Holiday. Yeah, vacation holiday, yeah.
I wanted to squeeze in those keywords because like we have this college thing and like they call it holiday and
Yep.
going to university.
University.
University. Wow, interesting stuff. I'm derailing this conversation right now, but any other like fantastic things you've learned from your guests thus far about Decision Day?
Yeah, okay. I actually wrote some down in front of me. I'm not going to lie to you and pretend like I have these memorized, but some things that play in my mind over and over that I think applies to anyone is Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs said this, and my dad tells me this all the time. He's a huge advocate for this as well. Follow your opportunity and bring your passion with you is something that I constantly remind myself because everyone is saying, especially as you're graduating, follow your passion. But it's like, what the heck is your passion? We have no idea. So if you follow the opportunity that you have and then you apply your passion to that, it's kind of what I've been doing with a passion for video editing. I just followed that one opportunity and now video editing is a majority of what I do. And then I think the other thing, James Whitaker, like I mentioned, also said this on one of the episodes. They're not better than you. They're just more experienced. So like if you look up to someone, you're like, oh my God, they're so much better. They've achieved so much. It's like they just have more experience on you and they've learned more lessons. So rather than like comparing, it's like, no, I need to get to that stage of life. I think all this knowledge and everything, I mean, I'm just regurgitating it.
Yeah.
This isn't from my brain. I just take it from other people.
Still mic drop. And
Yeah.
a lot of the best wisdom is not new. It's just the same old stuff told from a different messenger.
Yeah.
And that, you know, now that I'm getting kind of existential and I'm philosophical right now, but like
Oh,
that's
gosh.
part of what I think I love about what you're doing is because like you might use a quote from an old businessman that, you know, learned it from another person that learned it from this person that ended up learning from Jesus or something like that. But the world needs Leah, like the world needs you, because they might not I might not be the good messenger for them. Like they might not like the way I look or my style or anything,
Makes
and they
sense.
might like yours more. So
Yeah.
it's like there's nothing wrong with that.
That's another part of it. Yeah, yeah. The young, like the high schoolers now, I'm already losing touch about their lingo and the way that they talk, but I'm like, I need to talk to them before I age anymore. Like every day it's like a ticking, like an hourglass because I want to grab them and grab their attention and be able to speak to them for as long as I possibly can.
I love that. And this is going to be super cool and you're going to see it over time. But as you age, your audience is going to age with you.
Ooh, okay, good.
It's really,
That's a great
really
reminder.
It's really, really fantastic. Like, I don't want to go on a big rabbit hole, but like, I have friends that started podcasting in like 2007
Yeah.
and they were talking about picking up girls. And
Okay.
now they talk about like influence and like neuro-linguistic programming and they talk
Wow.
about sciencey stuff and different things. But it's just like, as they change, their interests change.
Yeah.
But the beauty is your audience is going to change with you.
Okay, good. Thank
So
you.
my
That's a
opinion
good
is just
reminder.
do you. Just do
Yeah.
you. You know what I mean?
I like that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Where do you see like the future for you? I know you're kind of in this figuring it out phase. It's like such a big question, but like have you
Getting
thought
hot in
about
here.
what's have you thought about what's next?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really trying to grow Decision Day and make it a brand and a resource for high schoolers. So that's my focus for the future is how can I expand on that concept. But I'm also right now, I'm trying to figure out where I want to live, where I want to end up. I'm very fascinated by England, London, the UK. Like, so if anyone is listening over there or has any advice, I'll take it because I'm so fascinated by it. I'm trying to get over there and see if that's a place I could live. Um, a lot of it is just making the money, saving the money so then I can have the opportunities in the future to pivot, do
Mm.
what I want with my career. Travel is a huge part of it. That's kind of where I see my future right now, but I
Yeah.
probably need to be more clear because it's a scary thought.
No, I mean, I would give a similar answer. Kind of like you're curious, you like to travel, you're kind of digital nomad. Like
Yeah, digital
that's
nomad. I like
that's
that.
the phrase for it. And you mentioned like getting your finances in line. That's another thing that I like feel like younger people aren't educated on. I know I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I saw you told me, I think offline, that you're going to do a whole series, but I saw like you posted a podcast with your grandpa talking all about finances. So you're like self educating. Talk a
Yeah.
little bit
So
about why that's
my
important.
my Italian grandfather, because he came here at 11, he had to teach himself everything. Rochester, he worked for Kodak, shocker, here in Rochester. So he taught himself all about the stock market, investing, saving, like very self made. And so he's made it his mission to tell his kids about it and now grandkids about it. So I've always grown up with knowing about all these stock market terms like quagmire of mediocrity, all of this nonsense. So it's like, these random things that I just had in my brain. And he always gives me these finance lessons. That was one of the biggest challenges when I did graduate. Was him constantly on me, like, if you're not going to go to college, you're going to make significantly less. Like, he's very numbers oriented. You're going to make less than someone without a degree, all the statistics. And so recently I've been proving to him, like, look, I'm making money, I'm saving it, I'm investing it. Why don't we take these finance meetings, like he calls it, or finance lessons, and put them on the podcast so that other young adults who are starting to work and make money can hear this advice and know what to do with their money because it was so valuable. Everything that he's taught himself, he's obsessed with Warren Buffett. He's constantly watching the stock market, all of it, the news. And so we kind of put that knowledge and information into the simplest terms for any young adult listening so they know the basics of investing, financial knowledge, the terminology, all of that just as another subcategory of Decision Day because it's entering adult life.
Yeah. And that episode was good. He was talking about like just put money in the S&P. Like it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
super complicated. And
Yeah.
like this is like a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow, but like you could make $100,000 a year, but if you don't have anything saved and you spend all your money, the person who's making less money is actually going to make more money than you because their money starts making money.
Yeah. It's the
And we don't get
depreciating,
that.
appreciating. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get that. So I think it's
Not in
important you're
school.
bringing it
No.
up. No. So like, and we don't have to look at specific numbers, but like if you started today, you're going to be so far along by the time you get to 30, 40, 50.
That's the
like
goal. The compounding, as he would say.
the compound interest, and then you can be a
Yep.
digital nomad and just travel.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so Finance 101 is a segment. It's like bonus episodes on Decision Day. If anyone needs the extra help in that category, I'm not judging. Like, I still am learning from him every single time that we do an episode.
So we've said the words decision day. Like the young me wants to play a drinking game, like take a sip every time we say decision day because we've said
Go
it so
ahead.
many times. So by now, I presume someone's went to the show notes, typed it into YouTube, that kind of stuff. I encourage that they do. How else can we support you and everything you're doing, Leah?
Just let's connect and add to each other's network. I think the biggest goal right now is getting on LinkedIn. Connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're young and you don't have a LinkedIn, go ahead and make one. I can be your first connection. You can scroll through mine and just add all of them, especially if you're in the Rochester area. I think the biggest thing is monetizing the podcast, getting more listeners, building the community, and getting on more podcasts like this so that I could meet more people, learn from them, and get the message out further. But if anyone has any specific industry they want to enter or career that they're interested in, and you want to know more about it, shoot me a DM or just text me, email me, because I will find that person for you. I'll get you the answers that you need, because that's what decision day is. Like, let's explore all of your options. I can help you do that. Even if you're an adult and you have a kid listening, I'll help your kid navigate life after high school.
I like that. So if I'm an adult and I have a kid, I can reach out on behalf of them and ask a little insider question as well.
Well, they should be reaching out. The kids should be reaching out if we're talking about
kid reach out. Got you.
If we're talking about the networking.
I love that. And just Leah Leverich on LinkedIn.
Yes.
We'll put it
Leah
in the
Leverich,
description.
Decision Day podcast everywhere.
So for anyone, I encourage people actually do send like the personal DM so they can ask a personal question. But for all the listeners that are different genders, different ages, different places in life, different places in the world, really, like this is the Rochester segment, but we have like listeners in Bosnia and Pakistan and all over the place. It's fun.
Dang.
What would you tell them if they just feel uncertain as to like what's next? Like, I don't know what's next. I don't know. Like, it's like I feel like I'm burning out and I don't know what's next. What would you tell that person?
Ooh, I guess it depends on the stage of life that they're in, but it boils down to, from how I see it, what are you interested in? What are you really good at? What career can align with that? And where can you utilize those interests? And then what kind of change do you want to bring through your career? The purpose side of it really helps, because I think even looking at now, like I'm just observing, but people who retire and all of that, sometimes they want to get more involved in stuff because you lose that sense of purpose while you're probably sitting on the beach 7 days a week, which does sound pretty nice. But figuring out what that purpose is and what change you want to make can help you get re-inspired through your career. I think that's how I see it.
Leah, I think it's great advice. And thank you again, like totally. Thank you for coming on the show. This has been fun. Like the hour flew by.
Thank you so much.
Did you have any clue we went for this long? Like,
no.
Come on.
No, this is a great conversation. I appreciate you for the opportunity. And look at this. Let me know if there's anything I could do to help you.
We'll
I would have
soon.
said it later anyway. Thank you so much.